Hi, and welcome back to That's Entertainment, the weekly entertainment show where we look at all the interesting news from last week, this week. Last week, we deep dived into some of the interesting news from Netflix in regards to the announcement that they were beginning to share more of the data on their hit shows, particularly in terms of viewing data. And this week we'll be kicking off again with a little bit more of a review on that. Cynicism about Netflix's decision to publish weekly top 10 charts continues, with Puck's Matthew Belloni listing some of the reasons he believes are behind it. Marketing 101, people are drawn to what they think is popular. Top 10 modules are powerful discovery vehicles, and Squid Game has reached an astounding 2.1 billion hours viewed, in part because it's kept showing up in the top 10 worldwide list. So people thought it must be something interesting. Netflix's CEO, Ted Sarandos, has been telegraphing more transparently for a few years now, not because he necessarily wants it, but because the talent community is increasingly demanding it. Plus, technology is getting better at deciphering Netflix ratings without Netflix participation, so Sarandos might as well play a leading role in that conversation. Thirdly, Netflix is subtly shifting the standard of success in streaming in another way, a way that benefits Netflix, of course. For years now, the narrative around the company has been its astonishing subscriber growth. Then this year, the growth slowed, and thanks to a combo of market saturation, legacy media getting its act together, and the end of the pandemic lockdowns, Netflix knows that the subscriber growth narrative likely won't be there in the future, at least not like it was. So what's the lesson? Change the conversation. So long, subscriber growth, hello, engagement, and with 213 million subscribers, Netflix is an engagement machine. What would be disastrous for Netflix and great for the rest of the creative ecosystem is if an independent, credible, well-financed platform emerged for the industry-wide consumption data. Netflix knows this, it recognizes that some kind of check on its power is coming, and so it's out there aggressively trying to shape that framework of that check. Some wise words from Matthew Belloni there. I think that's rather cynical in terms of the overview, but I think he's probably quite on the ball with this approach or interpretation of the data. And like I said, I think if Netflix pushes it forward, what will be good for the industry is other players will then consider this a valuable move as well. Parrot Analytics senior strategy analyst Julia Alexander took a deep dive into the initial Netflix figures for Puck and pulled out some interesting findings. South Korea has become a global content engine, she said. Korean shows routinely dominate Netflix's top 10 non-English global lists, and Netflix has invested heavily in South Korean content, reportedly spending more than $500 million in 2021. The Asia-Pacific region is Netflix's biggest growth sector. At a time when some are concerned about the subscriber slowdown, continued Asia APAC growth is a big priority. If that content also travels globally, all the better. It helps justify the local spend, distinguishes Netflix from its competition, and helps to retain customers in places like US and Brazil, where churn rates are higher. Netflix kiddie content is also working well. There's a new children's show now on Netflix, the global chart every week, and the kids' content trends on individual country top 10s for much longer periods than other shows. Kids' content is sticky, and parents rely on it, helping Netflix's reduce their churn rates. We've always assumed this, but Netflix new data proves it. Well, like I said, way back when, gosh, maybe a year ago now, if you have kids' content within your service becomes infinitely more sticky because your kids are also watching it and using it, and therefore you're less likely to churn out of the experience. Movie stars also matter. Consider Dwayne Johnson. Thanks to Red Notice, Johnson's Central Intelligence and Jumanji, The Next Level, also charted well, and neither was added to Netflix in November, meaning it's likely that people watch Red Notice, were recommended other Johnson movies, or sought them out. The movie star halo is real for Netflix. Well, that was another thing that we've been seeing within the film industry, is that star power no longer had the same pull for the box office, and big names didn't necessarily guarantee big returns. And in this case, what Netflix is realizing is star power still very much has a hold over the audiences, certainly for the bigger names. But as we increasingly see more TV shows getting made, there's going to be a democratization of star power. We're going to see less breakout big successes in directors' names, but also within the stars as well. Binge mode might be overrated. Compare Arcane, Netflix's new show based on Riot Games' popular League of Legends, which released a batch of 3 episodes each week throughout November, to Lock and Key, a second-season adaptation of Joe Hill's beloved graphic novel, where all episodes dropped at once. When it comes to demand, a measurement of what audiences are seeking out, talking about, and creating cultural zeitgeist moments around, Lock and Key pales in comparison to Arcane. So by staggering the release, they drive up the event or the eventization of the TV show. More people tune in in following weeks. Okay, it's not an apples for apples comparison, but I can see the logic here. Arcane can provide a proof that dropping episodes over a month or two helps retain Netflix subscribers or brings in new subs each week. Lock and Key might keep subscribers entertained for a week or two, but they'll move on to something else, and that could be off Netflix. Arcane, which has continued to build an audience and buzz, becomes a reason to open Netflix once a week. The importance of the Asia-Pacific region to other major streamers was reiterated this week, with Screen Daily reporting that Erica North, Amazon Prime Video director and Locals original for the Asia-Pacific region, announced plans for a big push into Southeast Asia, expanding on Amazon's Prime existing production activity in Japan, India, and Australia. Tellingly, the streamer highlighted Thailand, the Philippines, and Singapore as new key production locations, markets where Amazon does not currently have a large e-commerce business in place. And if the latest research from digital TV research is to be believed, Asian markets will also play a huge part in the future of Disney+, according to Digital TV Europe website. A new report was boldly predicted that Disney Plus will surpass Netflix for subscribers by 2027. Disney Plus's growth will be fueled by 13 Asian countries, where the streamer operates under the Hotstar brand. About 102 million of Disney Plus subscribers, or 38% of the total, in 2026 will be based in Asia. The Hollywood Reporter noted that yet another major SVOD player is also targeting the region, China's iQIYI, one of the world's largest streaming platforms with over 106 million subscribers. The OTT streaming company recently opened its international headquarters in Singapore, and the move is meant to solidify iQIYI's global footprint in Southeast Asia. But it seems that iQIYI isn't just targeting audiences there, as the company also has a growing presence in North America and the Middle East. A look at iQIYI's offerings reveals almost a dizzying array of pan-Asian content comprising of both original productions and licensed programming. The popularity of these movies and TV series, as well as rising interest in Chinese content, underscores the increasing prevalence of authentic stories from Asia that are reverberating beyond borders. The irony is that the expansion plans come at a time when the West view China as far from positive. Variety asked some important questions around the release of Venom in China this week. And according to the report, the film is yet to secure a release there because in China, rumors have been quietly circulating that it may be due to two anti-China interviews that star Tom Hardy gave back at Cannes in 2012 while promoting the film Lawless. If Hardy's past words really have led to a quiet ban on Venom 2, it would represent a financial disappointment for Sony, which clearly has specifically been courting the China market, given a gratuitous line of Chinese dialogue thrown into the first trailer. The importance of the Chinese box office to a film's global box office is something filmmakers are very well aware of, so Korean producers will be pleased with the revelation that China's 6-year ban on their movies has come to an end. But the ban was lifted last week, with the comedy Oh My Gran getting a limited release. However, the announcement of the film's release comes just 2 days after its actual premiere, leaving little time for promotion. Around 2,000 people currently have indicated that they're interested in the film on the My Gran social media platform. Only 257 screenings nationwide are currently planned for the opening day. In related news, Disney have been criticized this week for appealing to the Chinese government. According to the Hollywood Reporter, Disney Plus users in Hong Kong have noticed an episode of The Simpsons is conspicuously missing. First broadcast in 2005, it happens to be the one where Homer takes his family to China, where they visit Tiananmen Square and come across a placard that reads, "On this site, in 1989, nothing happened." It appears the episode suffered precisely the kind of censorship it was written to ridicule. But keeping unpopular foreign governments at bay isn't just a problem for Disney and their streaming platform. As reported by Digital TV Europe, Russia is investigating a complaint leveled against Netflix that accuses the streamer of violating the country's strict anti-gay propaganda law. The streaming company is seemingly in breach of a widely criticized law which prohibits the publication of propaganda on non-traditional sexual relations. If found guilty, Netflix could face a 1 million ruble fine and the service could be temporarily suspended in the country. That's all for this week. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe below. Goodbye.